What are we talking about?
Babies.
Babies?
Do any of you want babies? Do you not want babies? Leave a comment about babies. I guarantee you, if I asked Thomas's grandmother why she had children, either of your grannies, they would say it's just what you did back then.
Yeah.
Like, you go back a few generations, there was no contraception, and you know, you get married, you move out, you have kids,
And you die. Well, Melanie and I thought this would be a good video just because nowadays you don't really have to have kids. Like, we know plenty of people don't really want to have kids.
Yeah.
So
more of our friends don't want them than do.
Yeah. So the fact that we do want to have kids is strange.
It's questioned a lot. And it's really funny that nowadays, like, you almost have to defend why you want them. And that's not what we're here to do. We're kind of more so here to talk through the reasons why we want kids, because there are so many reasons not to have children. You're going to name some reasons not to have children.
Lack of freedom. You don't have much money in your pocket. You don't get any sleep. Your house is always messy. You can't drive that super sexy convertible that you've always wanted because you can't
Basically,
fit.
Deciding not to have children means you can kind of concentrate on yourself, concentrate on your career. I think it's important to establish before we start talking, though, that both of us are in a place where we're really happy in our careers. We feel like we've accomplished quite a lot individually as well as together. Like, we travel a lot, we've seen a lot of the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of answers as to why not to have kids. And a lot of articles and stuff highlight the cost and the sacrifices and all that kind of thing. And I do feel like there's a kind of a weird pull happening, especially with, you know, feminism and all that. It's kind of just like, oh, well, why would you decide to do that when you don't have to? That's just what I get from a lot of people.
Yeah. And then there's also the global warming aspect as well.
Yeah.
Like that article we were looking at, it's like the the best possible thing you can do for the environment is have one less child.
One less
that
child.
kid you want to have, just don't have it.
Something in my eyeball. But there is currently more deaths than births across the EU, but the population, I think, has risen because of migration.
Yeah.
Birth rates are actually in decline in this part of the world. The way I think about it, if everyone just decided not to have children, there'd be nobody to fix everything, like, because the population would come to a very swift end. Look what's happened in China, where they were kind of always encouraged to, like, only have boys and almost like just get rid of girls, and now there's just so many men and there's no women for them. Think about in 100 years time what that's going to look like. That's scary to me. So yeah, I don't know, there's all this like back and forth, but before we go into our reasons for why we want kids, I have a little sponsor for today's video. I'm working with Natural Cycles again. Yeah. When me and my old buddy old pal here finally got together 2.5 years ago, you used to be my buddy. When we first got together, I was using Natural Cycles, and I remember you being quite kind of curious about that.
Yeah.
It's the first and only hormone-free birth control app, and it is now FDA approved. It is 93% effective with typical use and 98% effective with perfect use, and this is it, kind of like if you put it beside other forms of contraception, basically. And I always advocate for using 2 forms of contraception, especially if you're like not in a settled monogamous relationship. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got STDs and all that to worry about.
Melanie here has been cycle tracking for our whole relationship, and we haven't had any issues yet.
Yeah, no issues. And the reason I wanted to work with Natural Cycles for this video is because it can be used for fertility tracking and planning pregnancies. So up until now, I've not wanted to get pregnant, and I've documented that in many videos. You know, I've made a lot of content around contraception. We're hoping to start trying like next year or the year after, maybe.
Like, we're in a decent situation, because like the situations never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're in any kind of a decent situation, I'm kind of just in the mindset of, when it happens, it happens.
Yeah. So I think from next year, we're kind of going to stop trying to not have a baby. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And with Natural Cycles, you use a thermometer every morning and you measure your temperature, and then you insert that data, then you check your status, and it basically has this super complicated algorithm. I remember I flew out to Germany like 2 years ago to talk to the woman
Yeah.
who made this app. So curious about it. You know, I've had really bad experiences with hormonal contraception. It just really doesn't suit me. So I personally would be much prone to like combining cycle tracking and condoms and pull-out method and anything that doesn't involve hormones. Do you know what I mean? Through the app, you know when your fertile window is. And so, you know, if we're trying for a kid, it's kind of like maybe turn up the heat during those days. Sure, you know, every day is... No, I can't make that joke. I can't make that joke.
Every day.
I would always say with anything like this, do your own research, talk to your doctor. Know that I am just the messenger. The algorithm is really complex and it takes into account, you know, if you're not being really consistent or if you're, you know, sleep cycles changing or you're sick, any of that kind of stuff is factored in. So it kind of then tells you to like just use condoms a lot of the time. I think natural cycles is perfect for anyone who doesn't want to use any hormonal contraception, who is in a committed long-term relationship, monogamous. For anyone like us who isn't planning on having kids, it's definitely something that might help.
Well, you've been all about your health and your fertility lately, taking all your vitamins, looking after yourself.
Because I was told that like you have to kind of get on top of that like years, months kind of in advance to be in peak condition. Natural cycles is another tool that hopefully will help, because you know I'm in my 30s as well, and they always say that you should have kids in your early 20s. Do you know when we were reading that thing and it really freaked me out?
Okay, so we were talking about the reasons why you shouldn't have kids, but then there are also kind of reasons why you should have kids, because you're talking about
a lot
having
of positive reasons.
Yeah, like because we were talking about having more money and that type of thing. But when you have more money, you tend to spend it on a lot of stuff that you don't really need.
Yeah, a lot of shite, like, you know, that kind of constant pursuit of a new car, and then you get the newest car, and then you want the next newest car, and you need the new phone, and it doesn't matter that much to us.
Yeah, like we're kind of more focusing on just like the people in our lives, the people who make an effort with us, we're making an effort with them.
And love.
And,
Love. For us, the idea of having children, it means having more meaning in our lives, because like our family bonds are quite strong. Like we're both big into family, and like we have a really nice kind of family set up in our town, and yeah, it's just the idea of kind of like having more of that.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, a little you running around.
A little me mixed with you. I always say I hope that they're like him. Like, you are the best person that I know. You are just the nicest, kindest, warmest, funny, lovely person. And I want them to be like you.
I want them to be like you.
I should have said as well, like, if I can't get pregnant, I would be open to adopting. I think we talked about that before.
I think we talked about that in another video,
And that to me solidifies it, is that I wouldn't mind if they weren't my biological children. I just want family.
Yeah.
Like you said that to me the other day. Because you didn't want kids necessarily if you didn't meet the right person.
Yeah, like I always wanted, and obviously like families come in all shapes and sizes, but I always kind of thought, like, I was like, if I don't meet the person that I'm sure, like, that I want to be with forever, and that I want to marry and all that, then I don't really want to have kids, because I didn't want to just have kids. I wanted to have a family, if that makes sense.
And I would have been different from that. I feel like I would have had kids if I didn't, because I had a strong... And that's another thing we've talked about, is that kind of like, is it instinct? Like, because of the age thing and stuff, I wonder how much biology and instinct comes into it, because we have the ability to override that.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of that, because that kind of leads in with what I'm saying, because like I was, like, if I hadn't have met you, like I don't think I would have. I think by falling in love with you, it kind of triggered that instinct of wanting to make a family and make more lovely things. Yeah.
That's so cute. That's so sweet.
I gotta call a dentist.
Yeah, I better
I
call
got
a
a
dentist.
sweet tooth.
And then the idea of giving another person like the joy of life, because we both have very, you know, we love being alive. I know some people are all like, oh, life doesn't even matter all that much. Like, if I ever harp on about health and they're just kind of like, oh, well, we're all gonna die anyway. Like, I just don't see that logic. I don't see it like that at all, because I really love the experience of being alive. Very privileged to have that feeling. Like, do you ever lie in bed at night and you're like, I'm going to die one day, and then you're like, no, don't want to.
Well, there's that, and then there's also just the fact that, like, I get really a little bit overly concerned with any kind of life. Like, do you remember me and the bee the other day?
Oh, yeah.
And I was just desperately trying to get
to
give this bee sugar water, get it back to health, because I just wanted it to be okay.
Thomas is like a hardcore vegetarian for years and years, and he like gets so upset at the idea of death in general. So I think we're both big, lovers of life. On that though as well is like lifestyle, right? So I think we've both had our fair share of years where we're kind of like out 2-3 nights a week, getting hammered, getting real drunk, staying up all night, partying and that kind of thing. And I still love socializing, and we do see our friends quite a lot. So we have a lot of different groups of friends that are all separate, but I definitely feel like I'm good, like I've done the whole kind of crawling in at 7 a.m. Like I'm not in that frame of mind anymore.
Yeah, we still do it the odd time, but not every single week.
Yeah, it's not as much of a priority anymore, and it's kind of like when you've done something so much, it's not as appealing. So then it's like, oh, what's next? What's the next kind of challenge or next thing? And I do see parenthood as a massive challenge. Like, I am not one of those people who's sitting here going, it's gonna be sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Oh, you're in for an awakening.
Just me and my gang. Come on, gang.
Cheaper by the
Go to
dozen.
bed, and they're instantly just like... and there's always music playing. It's gonna be great.
No. Do you not see it as a thing that'll give you, like, a lot of personal growth and, like, resilience and things like that?
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, everyone always says that it changes you one way or another. It just change a person, because all of a sudden you're responsible for this life, and if you do something wrong,
it'll die. Or it'll
Yeah.
turn out to be
an asshole. And then you have to listen to people come up to you and just be like,
your son is Boris Johnson?
Your son's an arsehole. And you're just like, oh, really? Sorry.
There are some selfish reasons that I want a kid. Like, I like the idea of having children and kind of my world, my circle just of concern just kind of tightening. Like, I saw that in some stand-up where he was talking about your circle of concern not that all you care about is your family, but like, I just don't want to worry so much about things that don't matter. And I think if I'm very preoccupied with, just the daily hustle and bustle and the routine, and like, I also think giving birth and growing kids will give me a different appreciation of my body, because I've had body dysmorphia all my life, and I go through phases of having kind of shitty self-esteem. If I could really fully understand like what it can do, because there's only so much like positive self-talk you can do in the mirror where it's like, oh, this body makes me be able to walk and carries my organs. But if you physically see a human being coming out of your own vagina, like, I just feel like that's going to give you a bit of a different appreciation of everything, like of your stomach. And especially like my stomach has always been that area where I've been a bit like, I've had negative like associations, but I really like the idea, like when I see women and they're kind of like just owning all their stretch marks and all that kind of stuff, and they're like, I grew this human being, I made them. I'm just like, oh my god, that must feel amazing.
So you mean you want to become less self-centered?
Yes. And I think it'd be amazing like human experience I wouldn't want to miss out on. Like, I don't want to be on my deathbed with no kids and not having had that experience.
Yeah. And
not just selfishly like, oh, I don't want to be alone. Like, obviously that plays into it. I can't imagine, you see old people and they don't, like, even they do have lots of kids, but they still don't have enough people around them and help. Yeah. Like, my grandmother had 8 children around her bed when she was dying. And I just thought that was so beautiful. Like, they all cared for her so much and were really there for her. But yeah, I don't want to miss that opportunity. I really feel like I will regret it if I don't do that.
Yeah. It's also just because it's a bit of fun, Don't do anything unless you're really going to enjoy it. And at the end of the day, like you do see kids screaming and stuff, like, and all that, but that's only a small percentage of the time.
Yeah, I know a lot of parents, and like, they always say how funny it is. And like, we like to laugh. Sounds really fun.
Look at us go. There's a reason people like cute baby and kid videos, you know? And it's just like, it's like I said, it's just growing that family around what we already have. Because you already feel like my family.
Yeah.
And I want more. I'm greedy.
Wanting more laughter in our lives is definitely a big thing. And just, getting to do all of the things for the first time with a new human being who's never done them before. That sounds like so much fun to me. You know, watching a Disney movie with a child who's never seen it before and then reliving it through them. Like, that sounds so fun!
That is... I didn't even think about that, because it's like, it's all the memories that you don't remember. And you're like, oh, I did this.
Yeah.
This is what I used to be like, but I don't remember that. But now I'm witnessing it. This is amazing.
Yeah. No, it does. And we are both like really, really excited for it. I definitely don't think you have to like have children to be fulfilled. Like, you can be fulfilled in so many areas of your life. I think it's just that I don't find fulfillment from career stuff. Like, I do, but it's not like I have to give that up. I don't have to give up my career for children. It'll just shift. It'll be different. I won't be able to like just get up and go and do this and that whenever I feel like it, but I can still write. I can still be creative. I look at some of the most successful people in the whole world, the people that I admire the most, and they have families and they have children and they manage to do all of it. So
it's the same with my job as well. Like, when I'm on early shifts, I'm pretty much on a baby schedule anyway, going to sleep at 8 in the evening and waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So it won't
they all of the guys you seem to work with have kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, it does seem like to ground a lot of people. I do think if I wasn't going to have kids, I would kind of put my full into career stuff. But you know, like, there's a lot of things that I just feel like, oh, I've done that thing, I did that, I've ticked off a lot of the things on my job list. Like, you know, write a book, just all these things that I was always like life goal, dream things. I'm very lucky to have kind of accomplished them at a youngish age. So yeah, I'm kind of like, and a lot of people have their kids, you know, in their late teens or their early 20s, and then they do all the career stuff later in life. And some people flip it and some people juggle it. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. And I just feel like I wanted to put this out there for people who are kind of having a lot of people in their ears being kind of like, you're mad to want kids. Yeah, you are, but, you know, because it's a big undertaking, but sure, that's life.
But yeah, like, there's always going to be people with one opinion, one way or another. They're either going to be like, you're mad to want kids, or they're going to be like, why don't you want kids?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Just do what you want. just it's your life.
Your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching this video, and definitely check out Natural Cycles. Thank you to Natural Cycles for sponsoring this video. If you guys want any more content related to contraception, babies, anything like that, comment it down below and let me know. And I will see you again in another video very soon. Thank you to my lovely man friend for joining me.
Bye, goodbye,
good friends, goodbye.
And now it's time to go. But hey, I say, well, that's okay.